Welcome to the continuation of my video series on the use of QGIS. In this particular video, we'll be exploring attribute tables in QGIS. You will recall that in one of the past videos I made, I showed us how to label layers. Now, one of the things we use in labeling is the field we got from the attribute table. So we want to see how we can edit the attribute table, how we can remove layers, how we can add to it, how we can make changes in the content of the attribute tables. This is very important because when you get data from different sources, sometimes you go through the data, especially the attribute table, and you see some spelling mistakes. You will need to correct those ones, because if you don't correct them and you use them to label your map, definitely your labels will be wrong. So that's why we need to know how to work with attribute tables. So let's start right away. So we'll start right away by opening up QGIS. I want to open up the software, and that's where we will work with the attribute table. So I've opened it here. So we are working on a new project. So I double click that to open it up. So now everything is blank. I need to bring data into this. So I go to layer, add vector layer. And then I'll come and click the browse button here. Browse button here. You know, my vector, the source, the vector data sets, everything here is blank. So I need to browse to where I have my files. So here I am. So Nigeria admin 1, that's the folder, not the compressed folder, please. So I double click that. So this time around, let me pick Nigeria admin 1, which shows the state, and Nigeria admin 2. Okay, I pick those two and I bring them here. So I will now click add so that the two I've selected can be added to my layer panel here. So I click add. Now let's assume I want to add more data to this. I can go back and I click the browse button again. Instead of closing this window, I'll just click the browse button again. I'll go back to where I have my data. So let's pick this one on roads. Okay, so I'll click OK. Then I'll click on add to add it. See, it's been added now. That being done, I can close this now. So I have everything here. But I'm not working with everything all at once. So let me deselect the roads and deselect admin 2. So I'm back here. In a previous video, I've shown you how you can change the color in case you want to change this color to something else. But so let's make it active as it is the attribute we want to look at. So let's right click and open attribute table. You can see there, open attribute table. Let's click on it. So this is the attribute table for that layer, Nigeria admin 1. Now let's examine this attribute table and see how useful each of the fields is. Because in GIS, all the layers together with the database, the attribute table that comes with it, they are all in the database and they take memory space in the computer. So we want to eliminate whatever is redundant, whatever is not important, so that we don't we don't make them to occupy unnecessary space in our system. So let's check through the various fields. These headings, the column headings, are the fields. These are the fields. And these are the contents of the field. So you can see ID underscore 0. Everything is 163, 163, 163. I'm sure that's the country ID on a global scale. Now, ISO, NGA, that's the abbreviation for Nigeria, is uniform all through. Name underscore 0, Nigeria, all through. So all these fields are redundant because they are just the same thing. So we can eliminate them. ID underscore 1, this is 123. Okay, this is okay because it gives serial number. And name, these are the state name. Now we see Federal Capital Territory here is very long. We want to change it to FCT. Okay, then type underscore 1, that's state. We don't need this, we'll remove this. Here, we don't need this, we'll remove. We don't need this, all these other ones. So how do we do that? Before we can, as it is now, as this table is now, you see, it is logged. There's, I can't do anything anywhere here. I can't make any change here. I can't remove anything. It is logged. So for me to unlock the table, I need to bring it into editing mode. And that I will do by clicking this pencil sign here. It is the toggle editing button. It looks like a pencil right at the far extreme top right. Top left corner. So click on it. That brings this table now into editing mode. So I can do any editing work I want to do here. So let's check out this toggle editing button. So to edit this table as it is, to edit the table, we need to move out of the logged mode. And how do we do that? There is a button here at the top left corner here. It looks like a pencil. It is the toggle editing button. So when we click on it, just click on it once, it brings your table into editable mode. So here now, we can edit anything here. You see, you can see now, you can edit anything here. And we can also remove fields. Things that we don't need, we can remove them. So it is this toggle editing button that we use. If we click on it again, the table returns to its format of not being editable. So we want to remove these fields that are redundant from our table. So let's see how we do that. We'll come here to the editing button, we click on it. Now, if you look through the buttons, as you move your mouse over each button, you can see the function of each button there. And then right here, this one here is the delete field button. Whereas the one before it is to add new field. We can add more fields to this attribute table by selecting this. But then what we want to do is we want to remove fields now. So let's select this. We click on it once and it lists all the fields available. These are the column headings. As you can see here, they are all listed here. So anyone we want to delete, we will select it. So we want to delete ID underscore 0 and this and that. We'll leave ID 1 because that's the serial number for the states. And then the name, this one gives the names of the states. We'll retain that. And then we'll delete all the other ones. They are redundant. We don't need them. Okay. So we have just 2 left. So with this now, I will just click on OK. You see, all of them are gone except 2. So then this FCT, Federal Capital Territory, here, we want to change it to FCT just to demonstrate to you how we change. So click on it and just type what you want there and press enter. So it's done. So everything we want to do now, just scroll down, see if you are happy with what we have, yes. Okay, water body here. I know that that area is Lake Chad. So instead of water body, I will just call it Lake Chad. Okay, and I will press enter. So that way I am through with the editing of the table. Now, if I want to add a new field, I will just click this button here and the computer will, you see, when I click on it, it says I should give a name. So whatever information I have, assuming I have population of each state and I want to add them here, I'll just give the name here, population. And what's the type? I will indicate the type, whether it's integer or string or whatever. So I will select integer. And if it's decimal number, of course, population is not decimal. But assuming I'm entering a value that has decimal, I will indicate this. And if what I'm entering is text, I will select this. And if it is date, I will pick this. So there are options for us to pick from, depending on whatever we are doing. And then we will need to also specify the length, how wide in terms of number of characters the column should be. If we leave it as 10, and if we are entering a value of something that is more than 10 characters, the computer will only make use of the first 10 characters. Every other thing after it will not be used. So sometimes I just make this 20 just to give enough room. I mean, in most cases, I don't even get up to 20. So it's better to have more space than not having enough. So if you do all that and you click on OK, your new field will appear here. Okay, let's just do that for fun of doing it. So I will say this one is, let me call this one population. I will remove it anyway. And then it's integer, so I will use it integer 64-bit. And then digits, we can't even have up to 10 digits there. So, and then I'll say, okay, look at it. It has created a new column now. So now I can start to put my number here, maybe 24000, you know, I can move on, 4521111, enter, so I can be entering my values here. That's how to do it, all through to the end. And once I'm done, I will click on this button, this save edit, to save it. So now I want to delete this field because I don't need it actually. So I'll come back here. I'll select it for deletion and I'll click that. So it's gone. So now I'm okay with my table the way it is. So I can click Save Edit and I'll click, don't forget you have to click the toggle editing button again to come out of the editing mode. So it's important you remember that. So that way now my table is locked. So nobody can carelessly just delete anything from it. So now that that is done, I can come back here. I'll close the table. So from the exercise, we have just seen how we make amendments on our attribute table. And if you open it again, you will realize that all you have are just the two fields that we have left on the table. So that way we have completed the exercise. And we can now use, we can go into labeling by going to the properties. And then instead of no label, we can now use single label. And then out of the two fields, we select name one as what we want to use to label. And you can see now we say, okay. So you can see the name we changed, FCT, is now there. And then this other one that we changed to Lake Chad is also, that has been done. So that way we have our neat map. So that's how we work with attribute table and make amends as deemed fit. Thank you very much for your attention. See you in the next video.